The next item on the agenda is another continued petition. It's a consideration of a request for approval of the demolition of an existing home and construction of a replacement residence at 2050 Saunders Road. The owner is Brian Sack, and the representative is John Hershey, the architect. Do we have any board members who have any conflicts of interest or ex parte contacts? Hearing none, we will proceed. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank
Welcome
you for
back.
having us back. Thank you. I will focus on the adjustments that we've made based on your input as a board last month, as well as the valuable input from the subcommittee that we met with subsequently. So briefly, what we're looking at on the screen is a site plan, 5-acre piece of property, and we're asking for demolition approval and architectural review approval comments. So what we did in modification from the last meeting is we really altered the east end of the residence to, in doing so, it's really articulated changes to a lot of what was discussed. So I'm going to, we can always come back to the site plan, but I'm going to skip past that. One thing you'll see based on changes we've made, we've proposed that the driveway is going to come around to the rear of the house, or the north side of the house, if you will. We've rotated the garage to have the doors face that direction. It's helped us pull the garage mass away from the front entry. We've shifted that as well, and did some things on that east elevation, which opened it up a little bit. In doing that, moving the driveway to the north and the garage doors, we have a cluster of 3 trees right at the north edge of the new paved area that we're going to take out. They're really not very good specimens. Our client has met with the arborist and talked about it, and the arborist, the city arborist, has no problem with that. So we're removing 3 trees, a small cluster at the edge of the pavement, as well as 1 tree southwest corner of the addition, this screen porch addition area. So with that, with those 4 trees around the perimeter of the residence, we increased the number of spruce that we're proposing along the east property line, and we're going to replace with at least equal to or more than the same diameter of tree trunk. Here we're proposing 10 spruce, and that'll also act as a nice buffer to the resident to the east. So here on the east elevation, you can see the significant changes that we made. Before we had the 4 overhead garage doors facing this direction. We've completely rotated that mass to the north. We've also shifted that mass to the north and shifted the main entry door a little bit to the south. In doing that, it's really opened it up. We've extended the length of the entry porch. If I move to the south elevation, you can see that there was some concern about the length of the screen porch. So what we did is we broke up the fenestration there by changing the wing that's at the southeast corner into habitable living space. And this was a combination of a few issues that we looked at. In doing this, it allowed us to move the interior spaces around a little bit in relation to the front door location. So we accomplished that front door shift by doing this, as well as help shortening the apparent length of the screen porch. This is just another view of the south elevation with the screen porch removed. It would be what you would see of the exterior wall from within the screen porch. But on the large gable end, we added an elliptical window, which mirrors the elliptical window in the gable on the east elevation, because that will be volume space in the living area. So we'll have that reflected on both sides. And then here's our north elevation with the garage mass rotated.
It does appear that the issues that were brought up at the last meeting were addressed, and staff recommends the board approve both the demolition this evening and the replacement structure. Thanks.
Thank you, Megan. We will now take it to the board for any questions or clarifications to the petitioner or to city staff. Both Michael and I were on the subcommittee for this. Do you have any comments to start with, or you?
No, I think, well, they brought forth the plan with the front doors, which that made a change to the floor plan, which resulted in that east wing of the screen porch being modified to a four-season room. And then we just talked about things that they could do with the garage to take away the four-car garage mass from the front elevation. And this is the solution that they came up with. So I think that's about it.
Right, okay, thank you. Columns on the east elevation and then the ones at the porch, are those all the same size?
The columns on the east elevation at that porch, and then relative
And
to
then-
the screen porch, is that your
Correct.
question? Yes, they would all be consistent.
Okay, and how large are those? There was a comment, Board Member Ruggles isn't able to make it this evening, and she was here last month, and she did review this, and that she had a question regarding the fact that they looked a little slender, so I was curious.
I see. Yeah, based on the number and the height really isn't that tall. I'd say nominally about 6 inches.
6 inches,
Mhm.
okay. Okay, thank you.
And how high are those, approximately? They're up on a knee wall of some sort, right?
Correct. The knee wall would be about 30 inches, and the eave line is possibly another 7 feet.
So they might be 7 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, we would allow anyone from the public to comment regarding this petition. Please step forward.
Okay, I'm in a wetland area, and I do understand surface flow of water, but when there's too much water and it's of abundance, and I end up flooding, it just doesn't put stress on my home, but it also puts stress on my existing landscaping. And I can't replace 100-year-old trees.
Just a final comment. I can appreciate the neighbor's concern, and I can assure him that we would work with engineering department to not contribute any additional water flow to neighboring properties from what is already occurring, certainly. So anything that we would do would not increase that impact.
Motion to approve the demolition.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I'll make a motion to approve the plan as presented with staff to take a look at the landscape element to make sure that there's sufficient landscaping.
And approved engineering from the city.
And then, well, engineering will look at the drainage anyways, so. Okay?
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.